Well, bonjour. This is a special, very special version of In Bed with the Fitness Industry. It is our first, and let's be honest, socially distanced. The only French word Jono knows, or French expression Jono knows. It's our first ménage à trois. What? And of course, I went all the way to Australia, which is where I bought a husband from and imported him on the internet and bought him over to Canada. I went back to Australia for the first ménage à trois of In Bed with the Fitness Industry with Jono and Travis. Bonjour, guys.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. I was
Bonjour.
worried when you started with bonjour. I was like, I hope this isn't in French because I'm not going to understand any of it.
It's always a lot faster if I can do it in French, but no, we started in English like that. And so, Jono and Travis, new friends of mine that we've recently come into contact with as we are now reaching out around the world and seeing how we can continue to support the fitness industry and the incredible professionals that are a part of it. And they're the co-founders of Fitness Education Online, which is one of the largest CEC providers for fitness leaders in Australia and New Zealand. And the 2020 winners, this is exciting, of Fitness Australia's Educator of the Year. So congratulations to you guys for that. Woohoo!
Congratulations, Jono.
And I love how you're very cozy in bed, the both of you.
Yes, I've never done a podcast in bed, so it's relaxing.
Is it? Hopefully. Hopefully it'll be relaxing. And then you got really cozy in terms of that. And we're doing it. This is the furthest we've ever been away. And of course, it's got a special place in my heart going back to Australia. So thank you so much for taking the time. There's a lot of things that you guys have done specifically over the last year that have helped and will continue to help fitness professionals. And that's what I was hoping we could dig into today. Is that cool?
Yes.
For sure.
So I've had a look to see what it is that you guys offer online, and there's a nice variety of those courses that you choose. Can you give me a little bit of a sense of how you pick what you offer and you bring into Fitness Education Online as part of the suite of programming and services that you offer? How do you pick and choose? How do you know what the industry needs?
Okay. You want to start with this one, Trav?
Yeah, well, I mean, it started with just what we thought we would have wanted, 10 years ago. That's how it started. And then as we've sort of grown and one thing I've learned is when I was actively as a trainer, I knew nothing about women's health, for example, nothing about women's health. And then as we've gone off and learnt ourselves more and more, I've come to that realization, and Jono's probably going to agree with me there that he's probably in that same boat of knowing very little about women's health. And then we've been lucky to connect with people and different people from around the world and different people from different places and really learn about different things, whether it be women's health or seniors fitness or just different branches that areas of need. And so we just sort of, again, it's sort of what we wish we knew, 10 years ago or more. And that's how it happened. At first it was courses for us that we wanted. And then afterwards, it's as we've learnt more, it's stuff that we wish we knew 10 years ago as well. So yeah, that's I suppose how we sort of pick and choose a little bit.
And has that been the same filter for 2020, or is 2020 like shifting towards different things based on what's happening in the world and specifically Australia and New Zealand?
I'll say,
I'll let you go, Jono.
Yeah, okay. I'll say a bit of both. So when COVID hit, then yes, 100%, right? Because our most popular course was how to run a successful outdoor boot camp. It was illegal to run an outdoor boot camp during COVID. So that didn't sell too well. But we did have another course, how to start training clients online. That obviously picked up a bit. But we had to cater some of the courses. So we put together a virtual fitness games course. Trav, I don't know about you, but if I asked you a year ago, do you want to put together a virtual fitness games course? I can imagine your reaction, but we put that together during COVID. It sold, I think, 100 in a week, 100 units in a week.
Wow.
We've never sold 100 of anything in a week. So that was, interesting. We also put together a Zoom Essentials course. Same thing, Trav. If I asked you a year ago, hey, let's put together a Zoom course, you would have laughed at me, And then also we put together some virtual conventions, which we'd been thinking of the idea before. Actually, we did put a virtual convention together and sold 0 of them a year ago. But then during COVID, we changed around a little bit. And then once again, I think we sold about 100 for our first one. Did we, Trav?
Yeah, the first one again was on the topic of women's health, and the first one I think it was about 150.
Yeah. So we
it's been really interesting to see, I find, in our industry, because I talk to people who work in the events worlds, but in other industries. And they're still like, they postponed everything till late 2021 and back to an in-person. Some of them are starting to do different things. But as much as it's been challenging for us, I find the idea of not being able to train our clients and help our people is just not acceptable to people in the fitness industry. And we don't do well to sit on our hands and do nothing. So when we had to do nothing, everybody was like, let me learn, let me get some education. What about this? What about that? And I'm really proud. I'm really proud. How about you guys? Same thing?
Yeah.
I think I was going to say, I think the other thing is we all understand how vital and how important, fitness is for everyone's mental well-being, right? So, like many trainers have gone through it where they've had their transformations or maybe fitness has helped them get through something. And so, we were just aware that if people were locked down at home by themselves, it's not really a recipe for good things to happen, So I think for us, it was, I think for a lot of fitness professionals, it's about trying to provide the best for our people. We get into this industry because we want to help people. And I think that was it. That was where it was born from. It's just wanting to help people. And I think that's why the fitness industry adapted so quickly.
Nice. And I find now when it comes to education, everybody you didn't used to compete. You had something in Sydney, you didn't necessarily used to compete with an event in Melbourne. You had something in Toronto, it didn't compete with something in Montreal, but now everybody's online. And especially if the stuff's pre-recorded and everything else. I'd love to know, for the people who take your courses or come to your events, the ones that, so let's talk about women's health as an example, since we brought that up, the ones that actually not just learn it just to learn it, but actually do something with it, apply it to their business, help their clients more, grow their clients more. From every single person that buys that course, what separates the, wow, they're flying with this, from the ones that just learned, which isn't a bad thing, but the ones that are like, wow, I'm going to take this and really thrive with it. What do you see as being the difference between those two types of trainers or instructors?
Okay.
You want to take that, Jono?
Yeah, I'll start, and then if you want to piggyback, Trav. So I think, and this will be an interesting start point. I guess the first thing, especially if it's online and not virtual, if we say. So if it's not like a convention or coaching where you rock up at 9 a.m., you buy an online course. I think the first thing is you have to actually log in and do the course, because there's so many people, and then especially a free thing, even if it's a free course, we've got some free courses, right? And sometimes we follow them up. Hey, just wanted to double check, did you get your free course all right? And like 9 out of 10 people won't even log in. So step number one is log in and actually do the course. Obviously, the more you pay, the more likely you are going to be to log in. But that would be step one, do it. Step two is then actually action it, because learning is great, but that's only going to get you so far. And then even when you action it like you believe that it's going to work, because there's a big difference between, let's say someone does, let's just say our bootcamp course, for example. Let's say they do the bootcamp course and they're like, right, Jono and Travis recommend doing Facebook ads as an example, right? Cool. I'm going to go and do this Facebook ad exactly how they've said to do it. I'm going to use it word for word. I'm going to use the photo. I'm going to use the headline. I'm going to put it out there. And if it doesn't work, I must have made a mistake. I better go back and check my notes and make sure I did everything correctly, right? Whereas the other person could be like, okay, these guys said to do Facebook ads, but I've done Facebook ads before and it didn't work. So look, I'll do it, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to work. Oh, I did it. It didn't work. Facebook ads don't work. So there's a difference between implementing and sort of, I guess, taking responsibility, being like, this is going to work. I know it's going to work because these guys have done it and hundreds or thousands of their students have done it. So I'm going to do it. And if it doesn't work, it's something that I've probably done wrong or misinterpreted. So let me go back and double check, as opposed to, I don't think this is going to work, but I'll give it a go and it probably won't work. And if it doesn't work, it's because the thing doesn't work. That's what I would say. Trav, do you want to piggyback on that?
Yeah, I mean, following instructions is one thing. Off that, like people who we've worked with people and we've done like one-on-ones with people who've reached out to us and said, hey, I did this and it didn't work. And then you have a look at what they've done, and it's not even in the same ballpark. It's like they're running an ad on YouTube instead of Facebook. And it's not even in the same realm of what we told them to do. And it's or not told them, but what we advised, right? So it's I think John is the master of this, to be honest. This is something that Jono, I think, is better than anyone in the world at, is actioning things. Jono is the ultimate, he's the ultimate. Someone says, hey, this is what you should do. He goes off and does it to a T, and he just follows it and actions it, and just, this is what I was told to do. And that is something that he is the absolute, best in the world at, probably, I think, in my opinion, right? And that's something that people, I think, they quite often don't trust the process. There's a bit of a lack of trust in the process. Or like our Facebook ad that we recommend is very simple, and they're like, oh, you know what, it should be more like this, and it should be more like that, and it should be more like this, and all of a sudden it looks like a completely different thing. And
do you find it's more from the beginning, it's trust in the process, or it's patience and not giving it enough time, or maybe a bit of both? Like if it doesn't work, they change course right away, versus using the system, like any system needs a little get it going kind of thing, or even from the get-go.
I think it's from the get-go, because when we've had people come to us and we're like, okay, so show us what you did, and it's
way off.
Way off, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, to start with, that's like a flyer, and you didn't do it as an ad, you did it as a post on your business page, and you boosted it, and it's like, that's a boosted post still a thing? I haven't seen boosted posts for a while.
It is.
It still exists.
It still exists. Yeah.
So, but that's the thing. They come to us and said, I did this ad. And what they did was they created a flyer and boosted it. And it's like completely not even the realm of what we would suggest, So it's, I think it's being able to follow the instructions accurately and trusting the process a bit are the ones who are going to get the best results. And it's the ones who go further, because look, whilst what we do, I have full faith in what we do, and I know it works, and I know, and it's been proven over and over again. We're not the only ones in the world who know how to run a Facebook ad. We're not the only ones in the world who know how to run a successful fitness business. You can learn from everywhere. There's so much information. Like you said earlier, you can jump online, and there's, I know one of your Canadian brethren, Danielle from Danny Axfit. You can go on YouTube and see what she's doing. You can, someone else will connect with Jonathan Hurtlis over in New York. You can learn from these people. The information is out there. And I think that's the other thing, is the people who get the success don't necessarily just rely on us. We might be the start point, but then it takes them elsewhere.
It's interesting because you talk about, I wonder if some of it is a misuse of our creative energy. That there's times where, and it's funny because we know that from health and fitness, there's times for systems and there's times for creativity, but each of them has its place and its lane. And so if in the systems of success and business success and those kinds of things, and implementation is not the place for creativity, where would you suggest they take it? Because I notice right now, and again, we're taking it from a colder month country, because we're recording this at the end of November in Canada, in North America, and for the people that have been doing it online, because a lot of Canada is still closed right now, or in our second wave of closures here, and they're running out of creativity. They're like, can you give me something fun to do in Zoom? I feel like the engagement is in there. I want to play with them in my boot camp, in my HIIT, in my Tabata, and they're looking for those creative juices. So how do you tap into that and help find play in what it is that we do, versus it be like not the same as if it was in person?
Love it. Okay. I'm thinking a few different things. Trevor, I'll run you through what I'm thinking and let me know which ones you want to cover, I cover. Because I think you can go the actual session, what you're doing in that actual Zoom session. I think you can go online challenges via like a Facebook group sort of thing that's got nothing to do with the actual session, but you can get engagement in your group there. And then potentially even we'll just say maybe those two. Maybe one of us does challenges, one of us does in the Zoom session.
Yeah, you do Zoom session, I'll do challenges.
Done. Okay, cool. So I'm a huge fan of fitness games for boot camp. I'm a
Mm,
huge fan of community in general. Like I just love hanging
mm,
around people, speaking to different people, getting to know people. That's probably what I like most about exercise. Like I to be honest, I don't like exercising on my own. I find it super boring. But if you get me in a gym where there's people I can talk to, okay, I like it a bit more. Get me in like a group fitness class or a boot camp where I can actually have a closer conversation. I like it even more. But get
mm,
me in a position where I actually get to meet and speak and work with someone. Like for me, there's
mm,
a big difference between being in, let's just say, I'm just going to throw some examples out. Let's say I'm in a circuit class and I'm in a pod of 4 people or whatever. That's
mm,
okay. That's pretty good. But I'll like it better if it's actually a partner exercise I'm doing with that person. Or if we're doing some sort of challenge where, we need to get to, 100 reps or whatever. And I've
mm,
got to work with Travis and do it as a team. That's my favorite part there.
mm,
And I want to do that on Zoom as well. So, and this is part of our Zoom fitness games course that we put together with a friend of ours, JP, which
mm,
is essentially a lot of the games you can do. I guess, sorry, step one is think about games and partner activities and team workouts that you do in boot camp anyway, and then just think, all right, how can I also do these in a Zoom setting? And
mm,
there's maybe some functions you need to know about Zoom. And actually, let's play around with them now. You've got host access, right, Natalie?
mhm,
So one thing that we do at Fitness Education Online that we find just helps the engagement work way better is pairing people up, right? But we'll go a bit deeper. Let's say this was a Zoom class and there's 20 people in here. Like you don't really know where to look. You're sort of half looking at everyone. There's not really a connection there, right? But let's just say we paired everyone up and you said, right, Jono and Nathalie, you're
mhm,
now partners. I want you to pin your partner, right? Now, if you want to pin me, Nathalie, or
mhm,
spotlight me, just so your people can see it, all right? So
mhm.
if you pinned me,
I have indeed.
awesome, cool. So now that I come up really big, whoever my partner was is just focusing on me. And those 15, 20 other people, they don't even matter now, right? And now me and Nath, and I would also pin Nathalie. So she comes up big on my screen. And all of a sudden it's just us two interacting, right? And we can look at each other here and we'll even say, all right, with your partner, give them a smile, high five, introduce yourself, yell out your name. Let's do that, Nathalie. So when I say 3, just give me a smile, give me a high five, and yell out your name. 1, 2, 3. I'm Jono.
Nathalie.
Now, you'll find when you do that in like a boot, and I'm speaking more about the boot camp group setting here, but we can always
Mhm,
go back and do it in one-on-one as well. But even just that, and you can unpin me now if you want, Natalie.
mhm,
But even if you just did that, if you're like, all right, guys, everyone pick a partner, you go with this person, you go with this person, you go with this person, you go with this person. Great, everyone pin each other. Cool, you come up big, give yourself a smile and a high five. Awesome. All right, we're going to work in, here's the exercise here. You're all going to do whatever it is, squats for a minute, as an example. All
mhm,
of a sudden you feel more connected because that person's up big there. You can say encourage each other, whatever it may be. You can make it a team drill. Hey Nathalie, we're doing 30 seconds each. You're either going for 30 seconds. If you're not going, you're the cheerleader, right? You're yelling out, you're supporting your partner, yell out their name, clap, make a heap of noise. I prefer Zoom sessions like that. I like the sound on, and I want to have as much noise from other people as possible. You can't hear anything. No one can hear their
No
name. No
one
one
can
can hear
hear
a clap, but
anything.
no one can hear anything. But what you can hear is noise, and
Mm,
it's just
Mm.
way more engaging than
mm,
training on your own. So that's the base. If you can just pair people up, get them in partners, and even if you've got a heap of people, you don't even need to necessarily pair everyone up like that. You can say, hey, everyone, just grab a partner. I don't care who it is. I don't care if you're not the same person. Grab that person and pin them. Right, everyone yell out, give them a high five, introduce yourself. I could be paired with you, Natalie. You could be paired with Travis, right? But you make sure the drill sort of happens so that it doesn't matter what you're doing, it works there. Like it could be, for example, a bear crawl and high five. You could do a bear crawl and high five your partner. You don't know who you're high fiving if if it's the same person back, but it just feels like part of a community.
mm,
So they're sort of the basic tips, and there's just a heap of games you can play. The numbers game, scissors, paper, rock, hills and hollows. It's like there's just so many games and what I recommend is even just say if you jump on YouTube and get a whole heap of fitness games, just have a look at them and be like, all right, how can I implement these games in a Zoom setting using the pinned and the partners and whatever it may be. And you'll find that most of them, you actually can integrate on Zoom as well.
Cool.
So yeah, does that answer that part of it?
It does. Thank you. Yeah, that's fun ideas there. Thank you.
Trav.
Yeah, then on top of that, what we've always done, we've always recommended is people run online challenges. So the reason for that, like our whole system for boot camp, for example, works on working with, say, a 12-week block or a 10-week block, right? And within that 12 or 10-week block, you run, regular challenges weekly, okay, online. Because what we know is the people who are engaging with you in your Facebook group are the people who are coming to your sessions. And so that would be the same on Zoom. So if you've got people actively posting, actively taking part in your challenges, they're more likely to attend your sessions. If they're more likely to attend your sessions, they're more likely to get better results. If they're more likely to get better results, they're more likely to stay long-term retention. And on top of that, they're more likely to recommend to friends. All right. So it's all like a big trickle-down effect. Yeah. So online challenges, we recommend running a Facebook group just for your members. So we're not very creative. We just call it the VIP Facebook group. So you can come up with your tribe, your this, your that. It doesn't matter, but it's essentially a place for your paying members to feel safe, to share, and to feel like they're part of a community. And so in there, you can run a whole heap of different online challenges. Most basic one, and one of my favorite ones, is a get to know you game. Nice and simple. All you do, share a photo, share 3 things about yourself, one of which is a lie. So, like it's, my name's Travis. Here's a photo of me and my dog, or here's a photo of me by my beautifully made bed. And I didn't do it, by the way. That was my wife did it. So props to the wife for making the bed every morning. But there's a photo of me. I make the bed. I might say I make the bed like this every morning. I love to walk with my dog, and I love traveling. And so then the rest of the audience or the rest of the community have to guess which is the lie. And it just comes up with lots of little different things. We've learned so many little things about people in our community this way that you never would find out. And my favorite is one of the girls who was like a pro-am golfer, and as a teenager, and traveled the world as a golfer, and didn't play anymore. And I'm not a huge golf to watching fan, but I like playing golf, and I understand how difficult golf is. And I was flabbergasted. I was like, sorry, you used to like travel the world playing golf, and I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And little things like that you learn about people, and then progressing from there, it could be a steps challenge. Like, all right, guys, the goal is to walk as many steps as possible this week. Post yourself, post every day how many steps you've walked, and then the target is 10,000 steps a day, or see who can do the most steps in a week. Or you can put people in teams. So John and I as a team, and we're going to put our steps together, and whichever team leads at the end of the week gets a little prize. There's recipe sharing. Share your favorite, healthy snack. Share your favorite breakfast. Whatever it is, right? There's so many different options of what you can share. There's a good one at the moment in the pandemic. I don't know how locked down you guys are, and obviously you're in winter, so maybe it's a bit cold for something like this. But a good one is something like a bingo sort of activity where it's like, okay, what you've got to do is you've got to take a photo of doing these things. So one photo is go for a walk in nature. Another photo is exercise, do an exercise outside or in a spot, take a photo of yourself doing exercise in a spot that, you probably shouldn't be, and there's someone can be doing a plank somewhere random, or whatever, like just a bit of like randomness. Yeah. And a bit of fun. And then over the week, they've got to try and tick off as many of these things as possible, and again, the more people who are taking part in, and the good one about that is they're taking photos, they're tagging you, they're tagging the brand, whatever it might be, right? And again, like I mentioned, the more people who are taking part in these things, the better it is for your business.
And I think so. Thank you so much for those ideas. I feel like we need a big old list of them. That's fantastic. I know that people can find a lot of that in the programs, the CC programs that you guys offer, and a lot of the stuff that you guys post online. So thank you for being so generous with that. if I take away one thing, so we are right now we are quite locked down. And the thing that people are craving is connection and community. And that's the stuff that's tough. We were just told, like in Quebec last week, they announced the limits on what could be done over the holidays. And it's like 4 days maximum, tell people. So everybody's trying to figure out like who's getting grandma and what we can do and how you can figure these things out. And I think there's what I love about it is there is so much we can do, and the focus on the way that we can create community, we can create engagement, and not just engagement from a business and social media. Do you know what I mean? Like tracking of results kind of thing, but engagement from a feeling people's energies and needing that opportunity to connect with others. And sometimes that's just looking somebody in the eye. I love that you guys, that seems to be the underlying, beautiful blanket of joy under everything that you guys are suggesting. So I love that.
Can I piggyback off that for one more thing, Natalie?
Yeah.
So even when we were running boot camp, our sort of goal was to be like, okay, how can we give these people so much value that they're going to enjoy it and they're going to feel part of the community, even if they don't attend a session. And we would have clients that are like, hey guys, I can't make boot camp for the next 4 weeks, but can I keep paying you and can I stay in the Facebook group? Because I just want to do the challenges and I want to feel part of the team. And I think that's the key there. It's like, how can you make these people feel part of a community? And also with what Travis was saying of the online challenges, I think a lot of trainers understand the power of social media. Hey, I'll make sure I've got a group and I post my tips on social media. That's a good start, but we want other people posting, right? Other people commenting. That's what I think community is.
Right. So thank you for that. Thank you so much for, again, being so generous with all of those tips. I think it gives us a lot to think about and consider as we plan our 2021 and ways that we can take it. The step one was get on. Step two was figure out the tech and do everything else. Buy the ring light, do what you got to do. Step three was launch something, which at least there was something there and we could connect. And now we can be a bit more strategic in making sure that the sustainability and the permanence of this is not a place that's second best, but actually a place that flourishes in our ability to connect with people in that community. So thank you for all of those tips. You've given us lots to work on. I'd love to end with each individually knowing a little bit. So we're shifting, we're at the end of 2020, we're going into 2021. It probably wasn't the year that for you guys individually, nor for your businesses, you thought it was going to be. I'd love to finish on knowing what keeps you grounded, what keeps you optimistic, and what you're still grateful for, closing off this very peculiar year and going into a new one moving forward. Jono, how about you?
Yes, good question. So I guess we're probably in a different position here in Australia, New Zealand, because things are looking quite good for us over here.
Good.
So I guess from that side of things, it's quite a good position there. Also, I guess it's personally running an online business. It's also a good, it's safer than a face-to-face business during COVID times. So I think those two things work for me. But even if I was speaking to people in lockdown, I guess what I would say is a couple of things that sort of would keep me optimistic and that I'm grateful for is, let's just say Zoom as an example, like $20 a month, cancel any time, and you can run your whole fitness business on there, no matter where you are and Facebook. Get a free Facebook group and get a Zoom account for $20 a month, cancel any time, and you can run your fitness business. You can connect with people there. And then also, I think a lot of people are more open to training online now. And I'll use my parents as an example. My parents didn't even exercise, right? When you could exercise, they didn't exercise. But then lockdown hit and they're like, hey, we can't just sit at home and do nothing. Jono, can you find us a virtual program that we can sign up for? So I think if you are watching this and you're in lockdown, hey, you got Zoom, you got Facebook, you can still run your fitness business, you can connect with people, and people are going to be more open to training online than they've ever been. So, it can be quite a rough experience, but hey, it's probably better now. Like imagine 5 years ago, right? It would have been a lot tougher if we went through this thing now. So yeah, that's my take there.
Thank you for sharing that. What about you, Travis?
I think if I were to sort of talk to trainers who are in lockdown or over there in Canada or wherever, it's the same thing. We spoke to trainers when they were here, when we were in lockdown here. just give as much as you can, like live videos, free tips, free advice, because just because people are locked down and stuff doesn't mean they're not going to stop training with you, doesn't mean anything like that. People are looking for things to do. And yeah, John hit the nail on the head there with a lot of that stuff. We have more access to anything than ever with Zoom. It doesn't need to pay for Zoom, right? Like you could still run something pretty effectively without paying your $20 a month on Zoom. You've got Facebook. You get the opportunity to create programs that might open you up to a whole new market, to a whole new world, right? Like, and we've heard this from plenty of people that we've worked with where they've actually put on whole new, like whole new programs and grown their business despite the fact that they've locked down, and so there are things out there that you can do. And I think, for us here, like Jono mentioned, we're in a bit of a slightly different situation, so I suppose we're grateful for the fact that we're an island nation and it's been pretty well protected and contained here. And, like I think for us, looking forward into the future will be hopefully everyone can go back to a bit of a normal life. And, and I'm sure like you've got a husband whose family over here, he probably wants to come and see his family at some point without having to spend a bunch of time in quarantine and, have to pay a gazillion dollars for a flight. So I think, like hopefully looking forward into the future that everyone's lives can return to normal sooner rather than later.
Thank you. Well, I'm really grateful for being able to spend this much time in bed, getting to know you guys that much better. Which I don't know. I mean, I find it hard to imagine that if I was visiting my in-laws, something like this would have happened. And so now we've set the stage for future times that we will get together with fancy pajamas. But I'm really grateful that this type of opportunity has come, and that I was able to connect with you guys, and for Jono to reaching out. And hopefully we'll have other lovely opportunities to work together in the future. But thank you very much. It's dinner time here, and I'm assuming breakfast time for you guys. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And very much inviting the fitness professionals from all around the world to go have a look at all of the fantastic CC programs that you guys offer online that are accessible to anybody, and to actually do the work when you do, and to actually get started and follow the system and ask questions. If it still doesn't work, ask questions, but go ahead and try. And those systems are proven, and have great success with hundreds and hundreds of trainers and instructors. So thank you so much, guys.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.